Hi, guys. Welcome back. For some people, drinking is very much a part of their life, and it always has been. I want you to meet today's YouTuber, Michelle, and the name of Michelle's channel is Eat, Drink, and Travel. Notice that the word drink is in her YouTube channel. It's literally a part of her life. Now, Michelle needs to lose some weight. Here's the problem. She drinks, and she might have a problem with her drinking. I hope you enjoy her video.
Alcoholism and weight loss. Oh my God, the struggle is so real. Today, we're going to talk about alcoholism and weight loss. They always go together. Alcohol is huge in my life. It actually came from my mom and dad, and then to me, and it's getting worse and worse. And I have got to learn how to get a hold of it. I don't know if I'm that strong. I don't know if I can do it. I think it's the hardest thing I've ever done. I quit smoking 26 years ago, and that seems so easy compared to even slowing down on my drinking.
So first off, Michelle, congratulations on getting rid of the cigarettes. If you at home have ever gotten rid of something like cigarettes, great for you. But have you had the same situation Michelle has, where you were able to quit the smokes, but for some reason you have a hard time quitting that extra glass of wine you have at the end of the evening, or that two beers that you like to down with the football game? Let me know down in the comments.
I'm a better person when I have a couple drinks. It seems like I can basically handle anything after a couple drinks. And I sleep better after a couple drinks. I don't know how this is going to play out. I do drink every day. And my goal is to only drink on the weekends or special occasions, and not to indulge.
I hope this plan works for her, but I think we all kind of can already see the writing on the wall here. Usually, when people have a problem with alcohol, it has to be all or nothing. Because what's the old saying? One beer is too many, 20 is not enough, right? So I don't know. This is one of those things where it's like, even though I know she doesn't want to quit, I think it's one of those things where you have to quit it completely. Let me know your thoughts down below.
But again, I don't know if I can do it. I posted a video not too long ago, I guess it was in March, about not about alcoholism, but about weight loss and how I was totally done counting calories. But you know what? I felt better, and it kind of kept me in line. I was only drinking what my Weight Watcher points would allow, which was barely nothing all week and only a little on the weekends. So drinking has a huge part in my weight loss and, of course, my life. Camping season's almost over. I start work again in a couple of weeks, driving bus, and that will slow me down from drinking, because right now I'm drinking during the day too, because I don't have to work. And I don't know, that's how I relax. So once camping season's over, I can get my shit together, move back home, and get into a routine. I can keep myself busy around the house, and it seems a little bit easier, but I still don't know if I can do it. I'm tired of drinking all the time. It's costing so much. It's horrible for my body. And like, it takes a lot for me even to get drunk or have a hangover, because I'm so immune to it.
So I don't know if you heard that last part, but it takes her a lot to get drunk, and she almost never gets hungover because she's so immune to it. So whenever you can start drinking alcohol, no different than you would water, that is a scary situation. My Uncle Jeff, God rest his soul, he passed away due to alcoholism. He ended up having like a stroke and dying a couple months later, but his last couple months he actually lived in the hospital and we couldn't talk to him or anything, at least from what I understand. One of the last things he said to me, which I thought was kind of chilling, was, "I feel sick." And I go, "Really?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm always sick." And that was the last thing that he had said. I wish her the best. If you believe in the Lord, maybe say some prayers for Michelle. Let's hear another minute or two of what she has to say, because I love how she's being her authentic self and sharing that with us.
It's scary, really. So this is kind of my promise to you that once this camping season's over, and yes, I'm not going to do it before the camping season's over, because it's too hard. I won't put it that way. I won't stop drinking and create meals that are good for me. Like, really, I do eat pretty good, but I'm not ready to stop drinking. I have to figure it out. I have to get a plan in mind. And if you're thinking, well, isn't this enough? Like, you're feeling bad, you're drinking a lot, you're spending a lot of money, you're doing all this stuff to make yourself miserable. No, that's not enough. I have to have a plan.
So here's the crazy thing, right? Sometimes people talk about sugar and they compare it to an addiction like no different than any other drug. But here's where I kind of disagree. With alcoholism, like she's saying right now, it might sound like an excuse and she's procrastinating, right? But the truth is, with alcoholics, if they quit cold turkey, they can get the shakes, they can literally have a heart attack, and they can get really sick from it. When you quit sugar, you're just grumpy for a day or two and then you're feeling better, right? We're going to stop here on Michelle's video. I urge you to go check out her channel, subscribe, and give her thumbs up on her videos. She obviously cares about sharing her life with her fans. I want to share a life with you guys. Go grab your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Good morning, mentors. One eye news this morning. I'm half asleep. Holy moly. My favorite way to wake up, going on a walk. Feels nice in the shade, but in the sun it feels really warm. I hope you guys had a nice weekend. I made a video yesterday about how to get monetized on YouTube without going viral. And I put it out last night at like 8:30 Pacific time. I think it's getting a handful of views this morning. I like putting out additional videos in addition to our daily walk. So I still have a video up for our daily walk today as well. I guess that's just my style. I don't want to do one or the other. I'd rather do both. The walk must continue. This looks like it's straight out of an Alfred Hitchcock movie. Every house has 0 birds on it. And then you look up there, can you see that? Look, how many pigeons are on there? And is this a sign of the end of the world? Holy shit. What do you pigeons know? Holy moly, that one house must have 100 pigeons on the roof. That's definitely a sign of the end. I think another thing that helps me that I don't talk too much about is I'm a minimalist. And I'm probably the only minimalist that you'll find that has a collection of shoes. But I actually use all of my shoes. As a matter of fact, today I'm wearing my Tom's slip-ons. Guys, Tom's has a lot of shoes that are popular with women, but not too many that are popular with men. At least I'm the only guy I've ever seen wearing Tom's out in public. But if you guys get a pair of Tom's, not only are they usually inexpensive, but I'm not even joking. These are the most comfortable shoes ever. Golly. I don't even think they're meant for walking, but they are the most comfortable walking shoes. So if you guys are thinking about getting a new pair of shoes, man or woman, check out Tom's, T-O-M-S. I think you would absolutely love their shoes. And if you've ever had a pair of Tom's, let me know down in the comments if you agree. They're just super comfy. And I guess it could just be this one particular type of Tom's that I have. But either way, if you feel comfortable, it's going to make your walk that much more enjoyable, you know? So this weekend, I was talking a lot about how I have an advantage. And if you're a person that's trying to lose weight by walking with me, you'll have an advantage too. Our advantage is that I really do enjoy being out here every day. So if you're the type that needs a partner to get motivated for your walk, I'm your guy. Let's do this. I'm really excited. I've been having a lot of good weeks lately. I've been doing a consistent 40 to 50 push-ups a day, guys, for like probably going on the last 100 days. That's an amazing achievement for me, because I've always been pro push-up, but sometimes I'll do, 40 push-ups a day and then I'll go 2 or 3 days without. And over the last 100 days, probably because of you venters, I was able to keep with that. So your boy's been doing push-ups for quite a long time. I've been walking 2 times a day, not only my morning video with you, but in the afternoon I go to Planet Fitness. I've been avoiding dairy for probably the past 100 days. Even when I blend up a banana shake, which I know last month I said I was going to slow down on the bananas, but I noticed that I use this oat milk, not goat milk, but oat milk. And the oat milk that I use, guys, it only has 40 calories. The oat milk that I use only has 40 calories a serving. And I believe a medium-sized banana has like 70 calories or something like that. So we're talking, you can have a banana shake if you're willing to use oat milk, at least the brand that I have, and it's hardly any calories at all. Staying away from cake. Ever since I saw that the carrot cake that I like at Walmart has, 840 calories for this piece of cake. Holy moly, that's like eating a dinner. So I'm staying away from sweets other than the banana. And I have a feeling I'm going to hit down to 155 here over this next month. Is that my overall goal? Not necessarily. I actually like the weight that I'm at. I feel like the weight that I'm at makes me feel like I'm not overweight, but at the same time, I'm not pudgy. I was looking at some older videos from that first month. Holy moly, my arms and my shoulders and stuff were real chunky. I had a B cup going. Now when I take off my shirt before I get in the shower, I can kind of feel like I'm starting to see pecs, I've been working on my stomach muscles at the gym a little bit. Today I ordered one of these boxing trainers. It's just basically bungee cords that you wear on your upper torso, and then when you throw a punch, it kind of gives you a little resistance. Not necessarily because I want to become a boxer, but mainly because I just figured that might be a great way to get rid of some upper body fat so that maybe my muscles can come out a little bit more. There's a lot of people, guys, in my age group that are constantly taking pictures of themselves and they've got a ton of muscles. And if they have a ton of muscles on their own, wonderful. And if they have a ton of muscles because they're taking a testosterone or hormone replacement, I think that's wonderful too. You know, whatever makes you happy and makes you feel whole, great. But one of the things that I take pride in is I want to try to get muscular without taking those extra hormones and stuff. And again, if you're taking hormones, I don't have a problem with that. You know, if you want to feel youthful and invigorated and good about life and the hormones make you feel that way, wonderful. I know that when people have hormone issues, it can really make a lot of irritation within their life and a lot of grief. So again, if you're somebody that's taking hormone replacement therapy or testosterone replacement therapy, good for you. As long as you're doing it under the supervision and guidance of your physician, I don't have a problem with it. I think that's the thing we got to remember as we get older. Everyone's on medications of some sort, or at least it seems like it, right? When you're in your 20s and maybe even before you hit 30, it seems like nobody's taking any type of medicine. And that might be different nowadays because, you know, these kids are growing up a lot more heavy and obese. So for all I know, young people in their 20s might be taking more medicines than ever before. I'll tell you one thing that's kind of disappointing. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but I feel like when I was growing up, there was a lot less people on mental illness type medications and antidepressants. I feel like if you go up to 3 or 4 people nowadays, I feel like you're going to find out that 1 or 2 of them is on antidepressants. And I wonder why that is. You know? I mean, are we literally depressed? Like, is the world and all the happenings in the world bringing us down? Or is it a physical condition that just occurs with some people, whether they have happy lives or not? Because I don't know about you guys, but we always find out that these professional athletes and these professional actors and actresses suffer from clinical depression. And it's just really interesting because it's like, okay, they make enough money where they don't have to worry about the different things that most of us have to worry about. You know, most of us have to worry about the price of buying a new car and the price of mortgage rates going up, right? And credit card debt. Most of us have to worry about those things. But when you're ultra successful like athletes and actors and actresses in Hollywood are, you got to figure they don't have those same problems. You know, for example, the last handful of years, I was able to pay off all my debt simply by making my bills another hobby of mine. That was another advantage of walking. When I was walking, I was like, golly, how can I start saving money? How can I start getting ahead of my bills? And then I realized, well, heck, I've got a little collection of shoes. I've got a little collection of watches that I like, right? Why don't I make my new hobby paying off my bills? Why don't I make my new hobby collecting $100 bills? And so what I slowly started doing, I should say, is I started collecting $100 bills. Not from the standpoint of, oh, you know, I've got a wad of $100 bills. I think that's kind of crazy. But what I started doing was I started just making sure that every month or every 2 weeks or whatever the case was, I wanted to save $100. And pretty soon you start to save $100, pretty soon you're going to hit $1,000 saved. And I'm a firm believer that if you're in your 20s and you're struggling, one of the best things that you can do is try to get to the point where you can save up $1,000. And Mala, maybe you and maybe Sean and Lily can speak to this. When we're in our 20s, a lot of times, many of us don't have $100 to our name because we get money and we immediately spend it. Well, as we get older, we start to acquire things and we don't necessarily need to buy everything all the time, right? That's the time in your 30s, 40s, and 50s where you need to get control of your spending. I firmly believe a lot of us are overweight because of financial stress. I also believe that a lot of husbands and wives call it quits because of financial distress, or at least it doesn't help. And I'd be willing to bet that if you ask a lot of people, what was the main reason for your divorce? I'd be willing to bet that quite a few would throw finances in there. You know, when one partner wants to save and become fiscally sound and the other partner wants to spend, that can be really stressful. You know, you ever hear some of these people and they'll talk about their credit card debt or how much money they're indebted? And it's crazy because I'm the type that if I'm in debt 3 or 4 grand, I feel like that's a catastrophic situation. But there are a lot of people out there that would absolutely love to only be down 3 or 4 grand. I watch these shows where they're talking about, you know, how tough it is for young people to survive financially. And it's this one guy, I forget the name of his YouTube channel, but he's talking to what looks like people in their mid-20s, and he's asking them, let's go over your budget. And some of them make pretty good money. But when he goes over how much credit card debt they have and how much they pay for their car and their rent, guys, these guys in their mid-20s already have 6-figure debt. Now, I don't know about you, but I feel, like I said, down in the dumps if I know that I owe anybody or any company a couple of grand. If you told me, man, between Visa, MasterCard, your mortgage, and your car payment, you owe $115,000, my goodness, I've never been the type to want to jump off a cliff, but that would make me potentially want to jump off a cliff. Maybe that's why people are so depressed. They think that by buying these things on their credit card, it gives them that dopamine hit, right? Hey, I got a new pair of shoes. Hey, I bought some new diamond earrings. Hey, I bought some of this, I bought some of that. I can see how that can make you feel good in the meantime. But then when you have to pay that bill for the rest of your life, that can get pretty disappointing. I had friends growing up that had strategic ideas that they would get a bunch of, they would accumulate a bunch of stuff via credit card or whatever, and then they would file bankruptcy once every 10 or 11 years. And for some people that I knew, that was their financial strategy. Hey, I have a legal right to acquire all these things, and then I have a legal right every 11 years to file bankruptcy or whatever their calculation in their head was, right? And when you do those things, which you are allotted as an American to do, you know, those are things that can help you get back to square one. So if a person has to pull the trigger on a bankruptcy, it's not like they want to do that. But if they have to do that, I can respect that. They're starting over in life. But for some people to find a way to turn that into success, I don't know how that works, but a lot of people are able to do that. So again, if you're one of those people that's got mountains of debt, you might want to look into bankruptcy or what have you, or at least talk to a professional about that, especially if it's snowballing and getting out of control. And that's where I feel bad for people that have these student loans. These same people that have thousands of dollars in credit card debt, many times you find out that they end up having even more money tied away that they have to pay back their student loans with. And that just seems devastating because, again, you can't get rid of student loans. And every single time the administration tries making it where you can, you still got to pay your bills with no late penalties over 10 years. So you're really helping the people that are able to pay that bill more so than the people that aren't. So let's talk about you real quick. Are you in that situation too? Are your finances up to par where you'd like to be? And what I mean by that is, are your finances set where you feel pretty good when you're on your walk and one of the least problems that you think about is money? Or are you on the flip side of that where your bills and stuff are so out of control that when you do try to jump into your think tank, it's almost always about money and finances? Because you know what my thinking is? One of the biggest things that we spend money on is food. And I don't mean grocery food, I mean fast food. I'd be willing to bet that as broke as you are, you probably still find a way to spend $100 or more over the course of a month on fast food, on coffee at Starbucks. You know, those are things that when you dive into your think tank, you really can solve those problems, no matter how difficult and challenging they are. Well, how, Jesse? Well, think about this. You can go to the store and buy a can of carrots or a can of vegetables for $1, or at least close to $1, right? Maybe $1.50. Or you can go out and buy fast food and spend 15 or 20 bucks every single meal. So what you can do immediately is do what I always recommend. The next time you're going out to lunch for work, go buy yourself a burger, skip the fries and skip the drink, and all of a sudden your $15 lunch meal becomes $5 or $6. Guys, if I get you to the point where you're saving $10 on lunch every single day, do the math. That's 50 bucks a week. That's 200 bucks a month. That's more money than you're saving than some financial gurus will help you make. You know what I mean? So again, if you want the best financial advice ever, pay off your credit card debt. Your credit card probably gets 15 to 30% interest. Guys, there are people that would kill to have those type of returns in the stock market. So if you really want the best return that you can get, pay off your debt. And I'm telling you, if you're a young man in their mid-20s right now, and you want to make yourself appealing in the sexual marketplace, right? What all the red pill people talk about. What you want to do is you don't want to take their advice when it comes to shutting down people of the opposite sex. That's not going to help you in the future. What's going to help you in the future is if you get to the point where you have some money in your savings account and you have your bills under control and that car in your front yard, quit thinking about trading it in for the newest and best model. Pay that bad boy off and be one of these people that drives that car into the ground. And then in the future, you know what's going to happen? You'll have enough money where you can buy a car outright with cash, saving yourself on the interest, and before you know it, you're way ahead of the game. Be Uncle Joe, the guy that can give his niece a car when she turns 16 because Uncle Joe never got rid of his car that he paid off. Could you imagine how cool that would be? To give your car, because you now have 2 or 3 vehicles, to be able to give your car to your niece or nephew for their birthday? Because maybe your sister or brother can't? God, I think that would be so cool. You know, a lot of venters, I bet if we took a poll, you know, a lot of times people don't necessarily have kids, but they absolutely adore their nieces and nephews. Well, you know, I hate to tell you guys this, but when you pass on, the closest person to you is more than likely going to be those nieces and nephews. Why do I say that? Well, why not just look at them as an extended part of your kids, you know? I don't have nieces and nephews. I have a sister somewhere that probably has kids, so I probably am an uncle to somebody, but I don't know how to ever reach out to my sister Dawn because I've never been in her life, and my dad didn't think to tell anybody what the hell her last name is, so nobody can find her. But if I did have access to her, if I did have access to my nieces and nephews, if I even have any, you know, I would want to be that Uncle Jesse type figure where they could come to me if they absolutely were in a pinch. You know, what's really tough is when a homeless person comes up to us and we have change jingling in our pocket and we say, no, I don't carry any money, as change is jingling in our pocket, right? That's a tough deal. We do that to our family members sometimes. Well, Jesse, that's because sometimes family members are mooches, and that's very true. But sometimes family members aren't mooches, and they want to know that when they are going through a tough time, that they can reach out to Uncle Jesse or Aunt Pamela or their great Aunt Minnie or whatever the case might be, right? They want to know that they can reach out to those family members and be honest. But the reality is there's too many people where our default answer is, no, I can't, I'm broke, right? And again, it's one thing if you say that to the guy that's constantly asking everybody in the parking lot for 50 cents, right? But it's another thing if you're shutting down family members. You know, we live in a world where a lot of people pull the plug on themselves. One of the reasons they do that is because sometimes they feel alienated. They feel like they're on an island all by themselves. They feel alone. Make sure that when a family member reaches out to you, that you don't just give them the insta no, you know? Find out what their problem is. If you don't like the idea of giving somebody money because maybe you feel like they're spending it on the wrong things, you can always say, hey, my pantry's open to you. Come over to my house. Take as much canned corn and canned, carrots as you'd like. I've got a couple bags of potatoes in there. I've got some jugs of water. There's things that you can do to help people other than giving them money. But man, I'm telling you, it would be a crying shame if you had a niece or nephew or somebody do something rash, like ending everything, when all they needed was a little help to get back on their feet. It's one thing if I'm one of these guys that needs help to get back on my feet and I'm talking about it. I'm debt free. I don't need help getting onto my feet. I don't necessarily need YouTube to, make me a millionaire. I don't need anything like that. That's why I'm saying I'm in the perfect position to walk with you guys. But at the same time, if I did need help, I'm at a point in my life where the only people that I could probably ask would be like my kids. Because number one, my friends are not the type that would say, yeah, here's a check for $5,000, get yourself back on your feet. I just don't think that friend exists in my life. I bet if we were to take a look at all my buddies' bank accounts, I bet you I have quite a few buddies that could easily write me a check for $5,000. But who the heck wants to take that check, So again, no one's gonna ask you for it, but if you ever do have nieces and nephews that do, or family members that do your homework. If they're junkies and they're wasting their money on drugs, that's one thing. But if they're trying to pay their mortgage, they're trying to make sure their kids can go to private school or whatever the case might be, and they need you to help them, don't shut them down immediately. At least ponder it, at least think about it. Come up with ways that you can help people where you're giving them a hand up rather than a hand out, right? Try to get them back on their feet. There's an old saying that if you feed a man a fish, you feed him for a day, but if you teach a man to fish, you feed him for life, right? That's true, but not everybody is ready to go out and start feeding themselves with a fishing pole. So, sometimes people don't need your help with how to make money and how to live right. Sometimes they go through divorces and just find themselves in a real pinch. Let's talk about that real quick, guys. Have any of you been really good with money? Always been really good at budgeting? And then you go through a divorce or a separation. Maybe you lose your job. And all of a sudden you realize all that money that you saved up and all that fiscal responsibility and that you had kind of temporarily goes out the window, right? Sometimes we're in a bad spot. When you're in a bad spot, if you've ever had to go to your parents or you've ever had to go to your boss or anybody and make a request, the reason that you were put through that test in life, in my opinion, is simply because there's going to be a time in the future where you are in a good spot and someone's going to ask you to help be their rock. So again, there's a lot of times where I complain about homeless people and this, that, and the other, but the only person that's real devastating when they complain is somebody with a closed mind and a closed heart, Never let your mind be closed. Never let your heart be closed. I do help people that come up to me on the street and ask for money when they need it, right? I don't do it all the time, but I do it when I can. When I do have a legitimate dollar or two in my pocket, a lot of times I give it to them, right? So you don't want to necessarily be the person that's a pushover that says yes, yes, yes. You don't want to be a yes man in life, right? But at the same time, I don't think you want to be that cold-hearted no, no, no person either. I told you guys a couple months back that my family used to kiss the ass of our great Aunt Margaret because the rumor was she was rich, and we just envisioned this big money pitfall where at the end of it all, she would leave us millions of dollars. She didn't even leave us a card that said, goodbye, I'm on my way to heaven. She She didn't leave nothing. So now my memories are this really rude lady that everybody treated like royalty. And it really kind of shows you a lot in life. Sometimes we treat people well that really don't deserve it. I don't know why we do this, but we do it a lot in this world. And sometimes those people that we should treat well, we treat them like peasants. We treat them like, scum of the earth, when in reality, those are the most important people to us. We love those people. Those are our family members. I think what's tough about family members is when they want money or something, a lot of times instead of giving them money, we give them advice like, hey, John, you need to pick yourself up by the bootstraps, and you need to quit drinking, and you need to quit this, that, and the other. And instead of creating unity and a bond and understanding, it creates a divide, I didn't get control of my finances and stuff until like my mid-30s, late 30s. So it's one of those things that I think a lot of people just have to wake up one day and say, this spending is out of control. These bills are out of control. So if you want a fun, novel way to get out of debt and you're really serious about it, start collecting $100 bills. Every time you collect 10 of them, put that money in the bank and then spend that money on paying off a bill. Start collecting money, make it your hobby to pay off bills. If you want to do it like what's his name? Not Gordon Ramsay, John Ramsay. He says take your smallest bill, pay it off, and then that money that you pay towards your smallest bill, add that to your next smallest bill, pay that off, so forth and so on. And then the mathematical geniuses come up and they say, that's stupid. You need to pay on your highest interest bill. Well, you got to understand where Ramsay's coming from. There's momentum that happens when you start eliminating bills. And if you have a small little credit card with a $200 balance, pay it off. Just get it out of the way. Then add that money to the next. So I actually kind of agree with Ramsay's idea of paying off the small bills first, because when you see those get eliminated, it really has a really good momentum factor. Good morning. Speak of the devil. That's what we have in life. We have a lot of people that seem to walk around like they've got something to do, but they really have no place to go. The best thing you can do to help that situation is not to join in there in that situation. The best way to help the homeless, don't become one yourself. Get control of your bills. Everything that I teach you with regards to your health and how, hey, these slow things can really create explosive growth, you can do that with your bills too. Start paying off the small ones, and before you know it, you'll be debt free. Have a wonderful day. We'll talk tomorrow.